भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। श्रीमद् भागवतम, 4th canto, chapter 12. Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. Text 22. Tang Krishna Padabhinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjalim Prashraya Namra Kandharam Sunanda Nanda Upashritya Sasmitam Pratuchatu Pushkaranabha Sammato. Tang Krishna Pada Bhinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjaling Prashrayanam Rakandharam Shunandananda Vapushrita Sammitam Sunandananda Vupashrita Sammismitam Pratuchatu Pushkaranabho Sammato Pratuchatu Pushkaranabho Sammato Tang Krishna Pada Bhinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjaling Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Vupashrita Sasmitam Pratuchatu Pushkaranabha Sammato Tang Krishna Pada Bhinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjaling Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Vupashrita Sasmitam Pratuchatu Pushkaranabha Sammato
Tam Krishna Pada Vinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjalim Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Upashrita Sasmitam Pratuchatu Pushkaranabha Sammato Tam Krishna Pada Vinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjalim Prashrayanam Rakandharam Shunandananda Vupashrita Sasmitam Pratuchatu Pushkaranabha Sammato Krishna Pado Vinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjalim Prashrayanam Sunandananda Vupashrita Sammitam
Bhakthanjalim prashnamrakandharam Sunandananda upasrishya sasmitam Pratyuta pushkaranavasammatam
Tam Krishna Pada Vinivishta Chetasam Bhakthanjalim Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Upasrishya Sasmitam Pratyuchutas Pushkaranavasammato Tam Krishna Pada Vinivishta Chetasam Bhakthanjalim Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Upasritya Sasmitam Pratyuchatu Pushkaranavasammato
Mataji's
Tam Krishna Pada Vinivishta Chetasam Bhakthanjalim Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Upashritya Sasmitam Pratyuchatu Pushkaranavasammato
girls, yes.
Tam Krishna Pada Vinivishta Chetasam Bhakthanjali Prashyanam Makandharam Sunandananda Vapusayati Sasmitam Pratyuchutu Pushkaranavasammato Tam Krishna Padam Vinivishta Chetasam Bhakthanjalim Prashrayanam Rakandharam Sunandananda Upasrishya Sasmitam Pratyuchatu Pushkaranavasammato
Tam, him, Krishna of Lord Krishna, Pada of the lotus feet, Abhinivishta, absorbed in thoughts, Chetasam, whose heart, Baddha Anjalim, with folded hands, Prashraya, very humble, very humbly, Namra, bowed, Kandharam, whose neck, Sunanda, Nando and Nanda, Upashrita, approaching, Sasmitam, smilingly, Pratyuchutu, addressed, Pushkaranabha of Lord Vishnu, who has a lotus navel, Sammato, confidential servants. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Dhruva Maharaj was always absorbed in thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. His heart was full with Krishna. When the two confidential servants of the Supreme Lord, who were named Nanda and Sunanda, approached him smiling happily, Dhruva Maharaj with folded hands, bowing humbly, Dhruva Maharaj stood with folded hands, bowing humbly. They then addressed him as follows. Please repeat. Dhruva Maharaj was always absorbed in thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. His heart was full with Krishna. When the two confidential servants of the Supreme Lord, who were named Nanda and Sunanda, approached him, smiling happily, Dhruva stood with folded hands, bowing humbly. They then addressed him as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the word Pushkara Nabha Sammato is significant. Krishna or Lord Vishnu is known for his lotus eyes, lotus navel, lotus feet and lotus palms. Here he is called Pushkara Nabha, which means the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has a lotus navel. And Sammato means two confidential or very obedient servants. The materialistic way of life differs from the spiritual way of life in that one is disobedient and the other is obedient to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All living entities are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and they are supposed to be always agreeable to the order of the Supreme Person. That is perfect oneness. In the Vaikuntha world, all the living entities are in oneness with the Supreme Godhead because they never defy His order. Here, in the material world, however, they are not sammata, agreeable, but always asammata, disagreeable. This human form of life is a chance to be trained to be agreeable to the orders of the Supreme Personality, of the Supreme Lord. To bring about the training in society is the mission of the Krishna consciousness movement. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the laws of material nature are very strict. No one can overcome the stringent laws of the material nature. But one who becomes a surrendered soul and agrees to the orders of the Supreme Lord can easily overcome those stringent laws. The example of Dhruva Maharaj is very fitting. Simply by becoming agreeable to the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by developing love of Godhead, Dhruva got the chance to personally meet the confidential servants of Lord Vishnu face to face. What was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for everyone. Anyone who very seriously engages in devotional service can obtain in due course of time the same perfection of the human form of life. Tang Krishna Pada Bhinibishta Chetasam Baddhanjaling Prashrayanamra Kandharam Shunanda Nanda Bopusita Prishmitam Pratuchatu Pushkara Nabha Sammato. Dhruva Maharaj was always absorbed in thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. His heart was full with Krishna. When the two confidential servants of the Supreme Lord, who were named Nanda and Sunanda, approached him, smiling happily, Dhruva stood with folded hands, bowing humbly. Then they addressed him as follows. So, Dhruva Maharaj is now about to leave this planet. And here it has been described how mercifully the Lord takes his devotees back to the spiritual world. We came from the spiritual sky, and in this material nature we are suffering. Material nature is a place of suffering. like a prison house. Now, who wants to be in a prison house? The criminals. The criminals are put into prison house. And those who wants to stay in the prison house? Does a sane man want to stay in the prison house? It's the insane people who stay in the prison house. In that respect, we can consider this material nature is like a madhouse. Lunatic asylum. Where the mad people kept. So material nature is like a madhouse. And who stays in the madhouse? The mad people. So, so material nature also is a place for the mudhas, mohitas, those who do not have the right senses, those who are bewildered, those who are completely insane. This material nature is the place for them. But why a madman is sent to the madhouse? A madman is sent to the madhouse to cure his madness. They get treated. And when they get proper treatment, then they get cured. There's various kinds of treatments. Sometimes they're given medicines. Sometimes mad people are given some treatment like electric shock. So that their madness can be cured. So in the material nature also, we are getting that kind of treatment. Another way to look at the material nature also, this way we can look at the material nature in various ways. Material nature also is a playground, is like a park where children are allowed to play. Children's playground. So there the children can play their own games. But is playing games the goal of life? Children some children need to play. Children do need to play. But can the children play all the time? No. But the children are children, they are playing. And what does the father do? He takes the child to the park. And then what does he do? When the child is playing, he sits on a bench by the side of the park, watching the child playing. And when it becomes dark, all his friends are gone, then what happens to the child? He becomes afraid and he cries out, "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" And then the father comes and picks him up. Now let's go home. So this is also another way to look at this material nature. We all are allowed to play here a game called Game of Maya. A game of material attachments. And we have many companions to play the game. And our Supreme Father, Krishna, is sitting on a bench in our heart, watching us. And when the game is over, when you become afraid, then you call out to the Father, "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" "Hari, Hari, where are you?" "Krishna, Krishna, where are you?" Then Krishna says, "Come, let's go home." So he picks us up and takes us back to Godhead. It's nice, we got this opportunity to play a game here, but that game is not it's just a pastime, it's just a way to pass time. Because we are children, we have frivolous tendencies, we like to play. And our Father Krishna is sitting in our heart watching us play the game. And then, when we become afraid, when we realize this game is not the goal of life, and we call out to Krishna sincerely, then Krishna comes and takes us back to Godhead. Sometimes Krishna himself comes and picks us up. Sometimes Krishna sends his agents, his associates, like Nanda and Sunanda have been sent here. So in this way, Krishna is taking care of us. So the goal of life actually is to finish off this frivolous game and go back to our main business in the spiritual sky, to be with our Father and serve Him. A child plays in the park, but when the child grows up, then what does he do? Does he play in the park? Nowadays, that's what is happening. In the material nature, as I said, this whole nature is actually meant for children. Their age may be 85 years, but their mentality is like that of a child. But when they grow up, how do they grow up? The way to grow up is becoming Krishna conscious. That is the real way of real maturity. When we become mature, we become Krishna conscious. And when we become Krishna conscious, then we realize what is our main business. And here Prabhupada is pointing out the main business is actually sammato. Accept what Krishna wants us to do. Agree with Krishna's desire. Agree with Krishna's plans. So that is what spiritual life is meant for. To be agreeable, to agree to Krishna's plans. And when we agree to Krishna's plan, then we accept whatever Krishna does, we accept. And that mood is Marobi Rakhobi Jo Ichha Tohara. Not that only Krishna, when you give me pleasure, I will accept you. And when you give me pain, I'll say, oh, Krishna doesn't exist. If God was there, then why am I suffering? There is no God. Or blame God. Oh, God is making me suffer, so I won't accept that God. We don't realize that we are enjoying or suffering due to our own karma. Krishna is neutral. Krishna is not saying you suffer and you enjoy. No. Krishna is neutral to everybody. He is neutral to everyone. So whoever surrenders to him, Krishna becomes favorable. But otherwise, Krishna says, okay, you're playing the game. Here's the field. When you score, then you win. When you play the game nicely, you win. And when you don't play the game so nicely, you lose. Isn't that the game? When you act properly, you enjoy. When you act in a wrong way, then you suffer. So that is the law of material nature. That is the law of material nature. You enjoy and suffer according to your own karma. So that is the arrangement that Krishna has made. Karmic reaction. Guna karma vibhagasaha. The material nature is functioning with this arrangement of guna and karma. But when one becomes sammato, when one surrenders to Krishna, mamekam sharanang braja, when one surrenders to Krishna, then he becomes free from the karmic reactions. Ahang tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. Mokshayishyami means freedom from karmic reactions. No more karmic reactions. When you surrender to Krishna, then there is no more karmic reactions. So this is how one actually becomes free from the bondage of material nature. So devotional service means surrender to Krishna. And surrendering to Krishna means accepting whatever Krishna wants. We can't say, I surrendered to Krishna, but then I ordered Krishna. Krishna, can you do this for me? Krishna, can you do this for me? That is not surrender. That is becoming Krishna's boss. Krishna, do it for me. So that is also one does at a neophyte stage, but still that is also good, because Prabhupada is saying that one is at least accepting Krishna. Like a child. The child tells the father, Father or Daddy, I want this. Daddy, I want that. Give me this, give me that. But when the child grows up and he develops his love for the father, then will he tell the father, give me this, give me that? Then he will say, Father, what can I do for you? So that is the way of growing up. Maturity is not taking service from Krishna, but offering service to Krishna. And a devotee does not want to take service from Krishna in an advanced stage. Even when Krishna comes and do something, even if Radharani comes and does something, the devotee feels, oh, I am so fallen, I accepted the service from Radharani. One day in Vrindavan, Sanatana Goswami came to Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami felt, oh, Sanatana Goswami, my brother has come. It would have been so nice if I could make some sweet rice for him. But he was living in Vrindavan at that time, was like a forest. There was nothing. But one little girl came and said, look, my mother sent these things for you. What did you bring? Oh, I brought some milk, I brought some rice, I brought some sugar. Rupa Goswami was very pleased. Oh, now I got the milk, I got the rice, I got the sugar. So I can make some sweet rice for my brother, Sanatana Goswami. And when he served that sweet rice to Sanatana Goswami just took the taste. So where did you get this? And he said, well, I just thought of making some sweet rice for you. And one girl came and gave me this milk and other things, so I thought of making some sweet rice for you. That's how I made it. He said, do you know who was that girl? And he said, who? He said, that was Radharani. And Rupa Goswami felt so bad that he accepted service from Radharani. Whereas he should render service to Radharani, but instead he desired in such a way that Radharani came in. So this is the mood of a devotee, advanced devotee. He doesn't want to accept any service from the Lord or his consorts. But that is the mood of the Lord also. He wants to serve his devotees. He wants. The devotee serves the Lord and the Lord serves the devotee. Like for Arjun, he became a chariot driver. To be a chariot driver means a servant. Because like a chauffeur. Nowadays to chariot nahi hai. Chauffeur, गाड़ी का ड्राइवर. तो गाड़ी का ड्राइवर जो बनता है वो मालिक उसको निर्देश देता है, चलो यहाँ चलो वहाँ चलो. So similarly, chariot driver also, the person who rides the chariot, he tells him, ride this way, drive that way. So Krishna became Arjun's servant. Krishna became Arjun's messenger, carrying Arjun's news. So in this way, we can see how the Lord develops a wonderful loving relationship with his devotee. Je jathamang prapaddante tangs tathaiva bhajamaham. The way one serves Krishna, the way one bhajan, prapaddante, the way one surrenders unto him, unto Krishna, according to Krishna, serves his devotee. The way a devotee serves Krishna, accordingly Krishna serves that devotee. Je jathamang prapaddante. So that is the wonderful loving relationship, the wonderful loving exchange the Lord has with his devotees. And all the devotee has to do, what does the devotee have to do? Simply to surrender. Simply to accept Krishna as the Lord and Master. And accepting him as a Lord and Master means accepting his instructions, accepting his words. And Krishna's words are so wonderful. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Just surrender unto me. Manmana bhavo mad bhakta madhyaji mang namaskura. So Krishna, these are the instructions that Krishna is giving. Just surrender unto me, just think of me, offer obeisances to me. Are these difficult things to do? No. But the reward is so amazing. Just by doing that, like here we are seeing, in the purport, in the translation, in this verse, it has been said, Dhruva Maharaj was always thinking about Krishna. So we are always thinking of somebody or something. So why not think about Krishna? Instead of thinking of Sachin Tendulkar, why not think about Krishna? There is excitement in thinking about Tendulkar. Oh, देखो पाकिस्तान के साथ खेला में कैसे सेंचुरी किया था. So there is excitement to think about Tendulkar. Oh, कैसा over boundary मारा था. Similarly, we can think about Krishna. See how he killed Aghasura, how he killed Bakasura, how he lifted Govardhan, how he danced on Kaliya's head. How did he play with his friends? How Krishna is doing picnic on the bank of Jamuna with his friends. And all this wonderful food that Krishna is tasting. I wish I could get some of it. So in this way, we can think about Krishna, and that's so exciting. Much more exciting than Test match between India and Pakistan. So that is how wonderful Krishna consciousness is. We want to think of something wonderful. We want to think of some great hero. We want to think of some amazing activities of a personality. We want to think of some wonderful act of charity. Now in Krishna we find all that in a perfect way. The greatest of all heroes, greatest of most magnanimous personality. So in this way, Krishna can be the source of our thoughts. We can also become absorbed in thinking about Krishna. And Prabhupada is pointing out, what has been possible for Dhruva Maharaj can be possible for everybody. Only thing is that one has to act the way Dhruva Maharaj acted. We don't even have to act like Dhruva Maharaj. We don't have to go to the forest. And we don't have to search for Krishna in the forest. We don't have to perform such severe austerities and penances as Dhruva Maharaj did. For us, Krishna made the process very, very simple. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Iva Kevalam. So all that we have to do, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Iva Kevalam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. All you have to do is just chant the holy name, and the rest will automatically happen. That is what Dhruva Maharaj did. Just depended upon Krishna. And finally, what was he doing? He was chanting the holy name. So what Dhruva Maharaj did in the past, just to bring him to the platform of chanting the holy name, bring him to the platform of being absorbed in thinking about Krishna. And we have already got into that platform. We can chant the holy name, we can become absorbed in thinking about Krishna all the time. And then what will be the reward? The most wonderful reward will be at the time of death. Personalities like Nanda and Sunanda will come with a smiling face. Come. We have come to take you back to Godhead. Won't it be wonderful? Or will you say, nahi, ab nahi, thoda kuch kaam baki hai. No, we should be ready. When that opportunity comes, we should be ready to leave this world and go back to the spiritual world. Because that's the ultimate goal of life. So devotee should be always prepared. Apparently a devotee is prepared to die anytime. Prepared for death anytime. But this devotee doesn't die. That means devotee is prepared to go back to Godhead anytime. Won't it be wonderful? Shouldn't you be ready to go back to Godhead anytime? But in order to go back to Godhead, in order to ride onto the chariot, who will come and with folded hands? Before we alight, before we climb onto the chariot, who will come? Death will come. But what will the devotee do? What will death tell the devotee? Please bless me before you go. And what the devotee will do at that time? He'll put his foot on death's head, say thank you, and climb onto the chariot. So death may come to a devotee, or rather death will come to a devotee, but devotee won't be affected by that. So in this way, a devotee conquers death. Mrityunjay. मृत्यु को जय कर लिया है. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hare Hare. Does anybody have any question? Yes.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
I have a question like how to understand the Krishna's plan for us. Because sometimes we find that whatever is coming naturally in our life, so we should accept that as a plan for Krishna, how to deepen our understanding of his plan.
Yeah, whatever comes, accept it as Krishna's arrangement. Sukhe dukkhe samakritva labha labho jaya jayo. In happiness or in distress, in gain or loss, in victory or defeat, we simply accept it as Krishna's arrangement. That is the meaning of being Krishna conscious. That's the meaning of being agreeable to Krishna, as Prabhupada is pointing out in this purport. To be agreeable to Krishna. Whatever you do, that's fine, Krishna. You want me to suffer? Fine. That's your plan. I know it's a very good treatment. This suffering will be a very good treatment. Because I'll become less attached to material nature. Isn't it? Through suffering, we become detached. Because when we are suffering, who wants to be in that condition? And if we're enjoying that also, Krishna, I'm so thankful to you that you're giving me a good time. Any other question?
How to increase taste for chanting?
How to increase taste for chanting? By getting the taste for chanting. When you like some food, what do you want to do? Don't you want to eat that more and more? But if you don't like the food, then what will happen? So the way to increase our attachment, or the way to increase our attachment to chanting, is by getting the taste for chanting. Relish it. When you enjoy it, then you will want to do more and more of it. But if you feel, oh, why do I have to chant? Or Prabhupada said 16 rounds, chalo. किसी तरह से खत्म कर लेते हैं उसको, somehow or other. So it's a matter of taste. And what will happen when one gets the taste? That Rupa Goswami is saying, Tunde tandavini bitonute, tundavali labdhaye. When this holy name dances on the tip of my tongue, I wish to have many, many tongues. Karna krora karambini ghatayate karnar budebhaspriyam. And when this sound of the holy name enters through my ears, I wish to have millions and millions of ears. So that is the taste.
Guru Maharaj, how to overcome the false ego which comes almost at every step of whenever we do something?
Okay, what is false ego?
Thinking that we are doing something.
False ego means to consider that we are the Lord. We are the controller. I am a servant. But now I am thinking that I am the master. So that is the falsity, false ego. So the best way to overcome false ego is by becoming a servant of Krishna. And by appreciating the benefit of doing that. Like you serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees, and by doing that you get so wonderfully rewarded. So that is again another reciprocation, taste. And then automatically you get rid of your false ego. When you see that when you try to control, Lord means control. When you try to control, it becomes so difficult. On the other hand, when you surrender, how easy it is. To be a Lord means controller, and to be a servant means surrender. So we surrender to Krishna. And by surrendering to Krishna, there is such wonderful reward. First thing that happens is that we become free from anxiety. When I am controlling, I am trying to make all these arrangements. It takes so much trouble. But when I surrender, no more anxiety. Krishna will do it. I am simply here to serve him. He is the controller. And see how wonderfully he is controlling. Isn't it? Amazing way of controlling. The sun comes up, right? We don't have to arrange these big lights. The sun comes up and no need for light. This is our arrangement, that is Krishna's arrangement. Right? For this arrangement you have to pay money. For that arrangement, mufat. Free. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mitravinda?
You mentioned that in this age we don't have to do austerity like Dhruva Maharaj. Just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can go back to Godhead. So my question is that if any devotee is chanting very sincerely or any executing devotional service also very sincerely, but because in our society we are staying together with all devotees, we are eating together, we are doing service together. So sometimes unwillingly, if we feel any devotee is offended to us, but we don't want to offend, but maybe any circumstance is created, he or she offend. So it is impediment to our path to go back to Godhead.
It says better to be careful. But at the same time, Prabhupada said that in a family, the brothers also fight. But that fight is not that serious. After 5 minutes they become friends. So in Krishna consciousness, in ISKCON, in the family of ISKCON, sometimes we'll fight, but after 5 minutes we'll become friends again. But if it's not within the family, then there'll be trouble. Therefore stay in the family. And on your part, become careful not to commit offense. But at the same time, Krishna is very merciful, Krishna is very kind. There was some question here. Yeah.
Maharaj, when we serve very extensively and we are unable to attend morning program, unable to attend Bhagavatam class, and we are serving day by day and hardly able to chant, the foreground we are chanting but not on that level or clarity. So how to cope up in that circumstances?
You see, you have to prioritize, right? The first priority is chanting. Second priority is reading, right? Third priority is rendering service in the association of devotees. So this is how you prioritize. Like if you say, well, I am so busy that I don't have the time to chant, that will not be right. And So in this way, like you can schedule your time. Okay?
So like this thing has to be done on regular basis.
Chanting 16 rounds. Yeah, Prabhupada gave a very strict injunction. Our principle is chant 16 rounds, follow the four regulative principles. Do these two things at least. I mean, one should do these two things.
स्कूल कोचिंग पढ़ाई के चक्कर में टाइम इतना नहीं मिल पाता है कि हम रोज भगवद गीता पढ़ो यहाँ सुनने आओ तो
पढ़ाई खत्म करो, उसके बाद आते रहना। ठीक है? कौन क्लास में पढ़ती हो तुम? ओ ठीक है, वो 2-4 साल में खत्म हो जाएगा।
प्रभु जी के क्वेश्चन के आंसर में कहा था कि प्रश्न कि हमको भगवान की सेवा में आनंद आना चाहिए। तो भगवान की सेवा तो करते उसमें आनंद नहीं आता और उससे अगर भक्तों की सेवा करने में आनंद आता है तो क्या होती है?
तो भक्त का सेवा करना।
गुरु महाराज जी अपने हरिनाम के बारे में बताया कि हमको कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए, हरिनाम नहीं करना चाहिए। तो हम जब हरिनाम में जब करती हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरा तो कोई क्षमता ही नहीं सुनने का। भगवान से प्रार्थना भी करती हूँ और प्रयास भी करती हूँ कि हरिनाम मुझे हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र को सुनना अच्छे से खाना। जैसे से प्रार्थना करती हूँ वो बहुत ज़्यादा और कठिन लगता है मुझे। मेरे को जितना सुबह आपकी कृपा से मैं सुबह उठ पाती हूँ वो मुझे दिक्कत नहीं होती उठने में, पर हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र में वो प्रयास करने में बहुत ज़्यादा दिक्कत होती है। क्या करें?
सोचो कि भगवान तुम्हारा परीक्षा ले रहे हैं। तो नाम के प्रति, हरिनाम का प्रति कितना आसक्ति हुआ है ये देखना चाहता है भगवान। इसलिए थोड़ा कठिनाई डालते हैं ताकि तुम और भी अधिक तर रूप से उसके प्रति, नाम के प्रति आसक्त हो जाओ। Question from the internet. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much. I was thinking that devotees of the Lord are trying their best to pull fallen souls back to Krishna, but I am unable to follow the instructions of authorities properly. Even after hearing again and again. How to be fixed up? Your question is quite confusing. First you are saying, I was thinking that devotees of the Lord are trying their best to pull fallen souls back to Krishna. But I am unable to follow the instructions of authorities properly. Oh, you mean that although they are trying to pull you, you are not following their instructions. So become surrendered. When they are trying to pull you, you try to help them. Make their job easy. Don't struggle against their pulling. When they're pulling, just go along with their pulling. Because if you know that you are a fallen soul, that those devotees are trying to rescue you, what should you do? Should you say, well, let me drown, let me get drowned, No, not the right thing. If they have come to rescue you, assist them in their mission. Go along with their purpose. Okay. Yes, Kanganarayan?
Guru Maharaj told that Krishna sometimes becomes servant like Arjun's interior. So sometimes to make this story colorful, we may add like other thing, like during fighting, Arjuna has no time to speak right or left. He is indicating Krishna by kicking him back. Can we add this type of story to make
Kicking?
like kicking with his leg in his back, go left.
No.
So can you add this
no.
type of story
Who
to
said
make
that?
it colorful?
No, there's no need, no, there's no room for adding stories. Just repeat what is there in the scriptures. Why? What happened?
We had this type of style to make it colorful. Oh, Krishna is so surrendered. Arjuna is kicking his back, go left, right. So Krishna took this
No.
position.
If it is not there in the scriptures, there is no need. How do you know? I mean, I'll give you a simple example. Once a devotee painted one picture of Krishna and he added something. Prabhupada asked, where did you get that? He said that I imagined. Prabhupada said, no imagination. Even for a painting, there's no imagination. Just paint according to the descriptions of the scriptures. No, and especially things like that. Arjun kicking Krishna with his feet. While they're playing in Vrindavan, they can be, but in Arjun will never act with Krishna because Arjun is not in that kind of sakharas. Arjun we get seeing. Arjun is telling Krishna, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitrang Paramang Bhavan. Then after that, how can he act like that? These, like we should be very careful about adding things. Because spiritual world is not a matter of our imagination. Spiritual world is spiritual world, and we must approach the spiritual world with a respectful attitude. Yes, Radharani?
मेरा जन्म है हमारा रात को 12 बजे का अष्टमी का
क्या हुआ?
अष्टमी का जन्म है कृष्णा नाम है हमारा
हाँ.
और हम है ना मतलब सबको जोड़ते हैं इसको से
क्या हुआ है?
She is telling that I have born on the Ashtami of in the same time the Krishna born.
मैं खाली में बहुत रहे
And she is associating all others to Krishna.
Very good.
और हर क्षण हर पल कान्हा के दर्शन करते हैं
ठीक है, सबको बोलना कान्हा के दर्शन करना. Yes, Radharani?
I also heard the same description in class, and what the speaker was saying is that when during the war, everything was so noisy, so you can't hear one another, and this is how Arjun was indicating to Krishna which direction to take, and just hearing it was so painful to hear.
Yeah. Another thing is that, how Krishna and Arjun communicating, is it a matter of our imagination? Who gives us the authority to imagine that? My simple question will be, did Prabhupada ever do anything like that? He wrote so many purports, but is there any mention of such an action? Next question from Vinod Kumar. Maharaj, if Lord is present in each substance, then Lord is present in our each cell. Yeah, so what's your point? It's a comment, Vinod Kumar. Thank you very much for reminding us. Yes, the Lord is present if He is present in every atom, yes, He is present in every cell also. But the thing is, you are conscious of your body, and Krishna is in that body also. That should be your concern. Krishna may be present in every cell of your body, but there is one predominating super soul who is with your spirit soul. So your business is to become aware of Him, and also you can think that He is everywhere. Why in every cell? He is there everywhere. So that is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. Krishna is everywhere. Ito nrishingha, parato nrishingha, yato jami, tato nrishingha. Bahir nrishingha, hridaye nrishingha. But ultimately, Nishinghamading Sharanang Prapatti. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.